Buko runs, she runs a page called Wealth from Little, which is actually a page attached to a website. Now, Elizabeth is a wealth coach, a mentor, and a consultant. She works with women and helps them to become financially healthy. So she typically coaches and consults with women who really want to go to the next level with their finances, whether it's planning for the future to have a great retirement or...
Let me just get my headphones, okay? Be right back. I'm just going to get my headphones.
No problem.
Okay, Bridget.
We're recording, so you won't miss anything. You can always kind of look back if you miss any sections. So Elizabeth is a wealth coach and a consultant. There's women. Her background is in engineering, and over the last few years or months, she works helping women move from point A to B in their finances. So like I said, whether it's planning for the future, aiming at getting a really healthy retirement fund, or just leveling up in their game, moving from a place where there is scarcity to overflowing abundance. That is her mission in that space, Wealth from Little. So the Facebook page, Wealth from Little, and the Facebook group, Money Mindset and Wealth Building for Women of Faith, is an extension of her space that she operates in and where she helps women. Myself, I'm a business coach and consultant. I work in the marketing and PR spaces. I create concepts and ideas, and I help brands explore global markets with their products and services. So that's what I do for a living. We're both mums as well, and we're both wives. So if there's any of you in the group who have children, who are married, we're definitely in that space as well, and we live that life as business women, entrepreneurs, Christian wives and mothers. So this workshop today, tomorrow and Thursday, the purpose of the 3 days is just to take you through 3 topics and 3 keys that can help you unlock a healthy mindset around your finances and around entrepreneurship. So whether you're an entrepreneur, aspiring, or you're a seasoned entrepreneur, you will take something away from these 3 days that will help you do a mindset shift as we enter into the next decade. Next decade, guys, literally not next year, next decade. A new season, a new time. God is going to be doing a new thing in the earth. So without further ado, I'll just hand over to Elizabeth before we explore today's topic, which is self-love.
Hi, everyone. I hope you can all hear me.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. Thanks so much for joining us. As Bridget kindly introduced me, I'm Elizabeth Booker. I'm mom of 2, former engineer, and now I am a financial coach. And I help women mainly in their 30s and 40s increase their income, eliminate their debts, and start building wealth so that they can give their families the lives that they deserve, so that they can impact their communities and actually live out their calling while making money work for them and without going without themselves. And thank you for joining us on this 3-day training, which we felt that is so important as we're ending 2019 and going into 2020, because for most women that we work with, the main struggle, their biggest concern is the fact that they're not earning enough. They feel like they're under earning, yet they're overworked. And we find that even though that is the symptom that comes across, that's not always the underlying and rooting problem. And between Bridget and I, we wanted to have, just 3 days with you guys to just give you some love and information and, knowledge that can help you, uncover what is stopping you from getting to where you really are, where you really want to be. What is keeping you where you are now? We have dreams, we have visions, we have hopes and aspirations for the future. And guess what? We had those same visions like 5 years ago, last year, 10 years ago. And somehow we're just not moving closer to where we are. And for some people, you may even feel like you're moving backwards. But, today, tomorrow, and Thursday, we are all yours. Please take full advantage of us. I know that sounds weird, but I'm serious. So ask any questions you want to ask, and just you can feel free. You can ask here, share it here, or in the group, or you can even send us a private message to our to our Facebook messages or via email, and let us help you. Get where you want to be. It's me and Bridget and I, we have this running joke all the time where we say that sometimes people are drowning and we're reaching out our hand in help, like, take my hand, let me help you, but sometimes people are like, your hand smells, or there's some goo on your finger. Really, you're like drowning in like the middle of the Atlantic, and I'm like in a boat saying, take my hand, and you're wondering if I have goo on my finger. Well, so guys, my point is, take our hand. Let us help you get to where you want to be. And without going too deep with that, we'll start with today's topic, and Bridget will break us into that, because it's all about love today, guys. It's all about love. Yeah. Okay. So over to you, Bridget.
Okay, awesome. So as I said, I work in a space where I help people start businesses. I've been doing this for about 11 years. Prior to that, I started my entrepreneurial journey when I was about 18 or 19, which was about 25 years ago. I started my first ever business, which was a beauty business, and I haven't looked back. So I've kind of always been growing businesses and starting projects and helping other people. Now, today's topic is self-love. Okay, so you're going to wonder, well, what does self-love have to do with finances or entrepreneurship or having a business? I'm going to quote a scripture which you may be familiar with, because I'm guessing we're all Christians in this group. Is Mark 12:31. It says that Jesus said the second commandment is love thy neighbor as thyself. There is no greater commandment than these. Before this particular scripture, we learn that the greatest commandment is to love the Lord with all our hearts, all our being, all our strength, all our mind. So the whole person, which makes me and you, our whole person, God tells us to love him with our whole person, not some of our personhood, but all of our person. That's the greatest law. And then the second greatest law right after that is to love our neighbor as ourselves, the way we love ourselves. So when it comes to the topic of love, many people don't think into the space where they don't realize that the love they give outside of themselves is the love they have. You cannot physically give something you don't have. Okay, if someone walked up to you and said to you, "Oh, excuse me, I need £5 to get a cup of coffee," and you don't have that, if you know you don't have that £5, there's no point of you searching your pockets and wasting that person's time and going, "Oh, just a minute, let me look in that pocket, let me look in this purse." If you don't have it, you don't have it. Okay, so if you don't have self-love, which Bible tells us that the second greatest commandment in the Bible is to love our neighbor as we love ourselves. Okay, so if we don't have love for ourselves, we're not able to extend it into the marketplace. We're not extending it to our family, our neighbors. We're not able to give to our children. We're not able to give to our spouses. So it's very important to understand that the topic of love is first and foremost the most important. Right from the get-go, from childhood, as a mother, I understand that I'm here to make sure that my children are loved. I'm here to impart into them a sense of confidence, strength of mind, character. I'm teaching them boundaries. I'm teaching them how to build walls around their person so that things that are deadly, poisonous, toxic will not penetrate those walls. And in doing so, I'm teaching my children to love themselves. Okay, so how do we really love ourselves? Without knowing who we are, we can't love ourselves. You cannot love somebody you don't know. You can't genuinely love a person that you don't know their background, don't know what food they like, because all love is caring and sharing. That's all. You care and you share. Okay, so if you're in a position where you give out of yourself but you never give to yourself, then you're not really practicing love, because love is caring and sharing. God said that he so loved the world that he gave. So that is sharing. He gave of himself, his only begotten son. That is a sacrifice. That's pouring out, handing over to us something that is his. And so he's sharing that precious son. And so therefore the love relationship that we have to have with ourselves is to understand that we need to care for ourselves and we need to share with ourselves. That might sound contradictory, but hear me out. Many women, and women in particular, we experience love in very different ways than men experience love. I have 2 sons and I have 2 daughters. I grew up without brothers, so I didn't get the chance to experience the dynamic between girls and boys whilst I was growing up. When I gave birth to my children, I realized that, oh wow, there is such a huge difference in the way male and females, we communicate love and emotions and desire and all sorts of things. Okay, we're very different. My father was a very gentle soul. He wasn't harsh. So when I married my husband, straight away I was really dizzy. When I got into a relationship with my husband, I was like, oh my God, you know, it was just a nightmare at the beginning, the first few years of marriage, because I was experiencing a male, I don't use the word energy, but that, I guess that's the kind of appropriate word for this generation. We use that word a lot. I was experiencing this maleness that I had never experienced at home because my father was a different temperament, but my husband was full on masculine, and me being very gentle and growing up around women, it was really just too much. It was full on and we had lots of problems, and I became kind of like codependent behavior. My husband became abusive. It was a complete utter nightmare. And then as my children, by the grace of God, they came together very, very closely, and that's 4 children in 4 years. So all my kids just came in. First one came, a year later, second one came, a year later, 2 came at once. So I had 4 children in a very short space of time. And I was able to experience the difference between men and women. And that was where my journey to self-love began. Now, giving you a little bit extra background on myself, I've always been a person that people say, oh, Bridget, you're very patient, you're very graceful, you're this, you're that, you're that. You hear, we're human beings, and we tend to hear the same thing about ourselves over and over. So when we hear the testimony of our parents, our friends, our teachers, it gives us an idea and it confirms the way we manifest in the world. So I had heard many things from my friends, my parents, my relatives, like, Bridget, you're this, Bridget, you're that, Bridget, this is where you should go in life, this is what you're good at. But when those children came along, it shook my foundations, and it took me on a journey to kind of discover why there was so much friction in my personal marriage. Even as an entrepreneur working with designers, you know, business owners, sometimes I would meet people with very different and unique set of character traits, and there would be I would be overburdened with having to deal with behaviors that were not flavoursome, that weren't great. And I had to learn, but in the learning process, I realized that there were basic foundational structures that I had to go back and learn around self-love, okay? So those basic structures were, I had to understand my body, the way my physical body functioned, what made me feel well, what didn't make me feel well. I had to learn about my soul. I've always really enjoyed the topic of understanding human character, temperament. I've always loved it, but I had to go back and have a look again at the topic of my temperament. And then I had to go back to my soul, my spirit, understanding who my spirit was. Many of us Christians don't realize that the soul and the spirit manifest very, very differently. Have you ever had a friend, let's say, who is extremely quiet, introverted, doesn't say much, likes to reflect and think, likes their personal space, but in church they throw their legs, their arms around, they roll on the floor, they scream and shout during worship, they're the very aggressive worshiper? And then have you ever known anyone who talks a lot, who touches you every time they talk, slaps your shoulder, laughs out loud, but in the place of worship they're really quiet and reflective? That is what I mean by there's a very big difference between the human soul and the spirit. Just because you may be outgoing and extroverted on the soul level doesn't mean that you're the same on the spirit level. why is this important? Why am I talking about it? The reason why I'm talking about this is this. If I was talking to a non-Christian group, I wouldn't bring this up. But because we're a Christian group, I want you to understand that your unique blend of character traits is important for you to understand and embrace and accept so that you can love the person you were created to be. Many people don't actually like themselves. Okay, I know so many Christians, and they may not verbalize this, but because I'm growing daily and I'm exploring this topic, I see the typical situation of jealousy, envy among women in the church, among entrepreneurs, in families, because there is lack of acceptance of oneself, not being able to embrace who you are. If you're in a space and you have siblings, especially with us women, if you have female siblings, we all look different. Okay, you go into a home, there are sisters, we all look different. Some of us are big, some of us are small, some of us are short, some of us are tall, some of us sing, some of us are gifted in the mind, intellectually, some of us do things with our hands, and we're different. And you find yourself in a group of people and you feel like somebody has something up on you, or someone does something better than you, and that makes you feel small. And the reason why you may feel small is because you don't know who you are. Knowing who you are and accepting who you are brings you to a place where you can look yourself in the face. And if it means that you have to let go of certain mindsets, which can be quite painful, you need to do that, because there is no one, absolutely nobody, who hasn't got a unique space to fill in on this planet. I'm telling you, even if it's all you were created to do was sell water, okay? And when I say all, please forgive me, because selling water is not just all. You can sell water and you can channel God's grace, and you can channel excellence and just magnificence through selling water. You can stand by the roadside and just direct people to a place. You can be a traffic warden, and you can do it with such beauty and excellence. But you need to kind of get to know yourself. So the first thing is, I hope you got your notebooks, is look at your body, your physical body. Like recently, I've been on a healthy eating journey. It's not that I've not done this before, but this time is very, very different. This time is body type. I'm an endomorph. Okay, so the latter part of this year, I've been researching my body type, as in the kind of physical shape I have. I've been trying to find out how to regulate my hormones through food. So I'm doing a lot of research on that topic. And as I'm doing that research, what I'm doing is I'm getting to know my physical body. I'm eliminating foods from my diet that don't make me feel well, that make me feel bloated or make my stomach big, or don't make my skin look good. I'm researching, I'm learning. It's a process. Many of us are born into a family, we're fed certain foods, they don't agree with us, they make us unwell, they make us gain weight, they make us not have enough energy, but we continue to eat those foods because our parents fed those foods to us. And that in itself is, your physical body is a container. The first beginning point, a lot of women struggle with accepting the way they look. A lot of women can actually look at themselves in the mirror and say, hey, you are so good looking. A lot of women cannot do it because they don't feel well. They're not at their peak in terms of the way they look. And the reason why they're not at their, they're not really healthy in the body is because they don't know themselves that well. A lot of us will eat something and realize that it doesn't make me feel good. I can't sleep. I feel bloated. I'm going to food coma after I eat this particular meal. But then we keep eating it over and over again. And even simple things like that, simple things like that in itself, just making those changes. So one of my challenges to you, as hopefully you're taking notes, is to find out, or to go back into your memory bank, and to ask yourself, go into your memory bank and ask yourself, what are the things that I eat that make me feel unwell, that make me feel groggy, that make me have heavy periods, or that cause me sleepless nights? What are those things? Then ask yourself things like, the hairstyles I wear, the kind of makeup, do I do it because it's on trend? Do I do it because someone else is doing it? Do I? Ask yourself those questions and begin to, maybe the first quarter of next year, begin to be conscious about the way you manifest physically. Begin to be happy. Begin to make sure that what you wear, what you eat, the makeup you wear, the jewelry you wear is a reflection of who you are. You love it, okay? Then on the soul level, let's talk about temperament. If this is new to you, I'm going to suggest that you just Google human temperament. You can buy books by Tim LaHaye, which Tim LaHaye writes on the topic of temperament. You can also talk to Elizabeth or myself. As we've both said, you can speak to us during these 3 days or after you want to learn a little bit more about temperament. But temperament is your soul. Your soul exists in eternity after the body's no longer there. So your soul is extremely important. Your soul never changes. We never actually, you can have plastic surgery, okay? You can change the shape of your nose. You can bleach your skin and put on a wig, and you can turn up tomorrow white with a blonde wig, bigger bust, and look different. But my soul is still my soul. And the soul is where we have the will, where we make decisions, willful decisions. The soul is where we have our thoughts, and where we have our emotions. So the way we react to external stimulation, the way we react to the way people talk to us, behave. So everybody's very unique on the soul level. Once again, sometimes during our childhood, we tend to have them suppressed. I grew up in a culture where our parents can be a bit harsh. West African parents can be a little bit harsh, and sometimes children are suppressed in their expression because, you ask a parent a question, you're seen as being too adultish, so sometimes you can be smacked or told off, or maybe the men in your community are very overbearing culturally. So as a female, you feel you have to suppress a lot of yourself. And I experienced that growing up. And when I got to a space, I realized that, hold on a minute, this is not what I want to be. This is not what I want to do. I take on too much because every time I wanted to show up in the world, I was pushed into a space or pushed into a box, and I had to suppress certain parts of me. The way I'm really humorous. And growing up in a family, some people weren't very humorous in my family, so I felt like, that was too much. I love to joke around, and that was just my personality, and that's part of my unique package, and that makes me function better, and I feel healthier if I'm able to express myself through those ways. But unfortunately, like I said, it's not just family. Sometimes it's relationships. I'm going to go to relationships in a moment. Sometimes relationships, we find ourselves dating people or marrying people who may have also have their own personal baggages, and then they suppress us or they hurt us, so we're not able to manifest properly or function properly on the soul level. So it's really important to, no matter how old you are, where you are, if you've got it figured out, that's great. There's always room for more growth. But if you're in a space where you genuinely feel like, what, I'm not happy, I'm not myself, I'm always at conflict with my own emotions, I feel like I can't express myself, I can't speak the way I want to, I don't even like my own accent, I don't like the way my mouth stretches when I talk, I don't like the way my eyes, I remember one time I did a YouTube video, and I asked for feedback from a few people, and I took notes as to, out of about 10 people, 3 said to me, oh my goodness, the message really touched me, would you mind talking on this next time, this wasn't very clear. That was feedback. And the few people said to me, you kept looking at the camera, you kept doing this, you kept touching your nose, you tilt your head. And I took it on board. But later on, when I went back to look at those feedbacks, I realized that they didn't even look at the content that I was providing. They were just looking at my eyes, my nose, the way I tilt my head, and all these little things. And initially I thought, oh my God, I need to go and do some more polishing up on my speaking, whatever it is. And then as that thought came to my head, I thought to myself, hold on a minute. I've been singing in church since I was 16. I've been just standing on a stage with a microphone, just allowing God to use me. And he has, regardless of whether my neck is like that or my arms are like that. You know, yes, that is great to better yourself. But on the basic level, before you start moving forward and bettering yourself, you need to accept who you are. And I realized that my dad does his head like that. And one of my kids does their head like that. And I'm like, hold on a minute, this is genetic. No, this at this point in time, I'm not going to go and learn how. No, just leave it alone. You know, my eyes are big, and I do my eyes like when I talk, and I look to the side, and my grandmother does it, and I just thought, hey, hold on a minute, these are gifts that God has given me through my bloodline, and that's how I am. And many people will subscribe to me and love me because of the way I show up. And those people are the people I'm meant to do life with. Those who kind of find my eyes too much or my neck turning too much and it distracts them, they're not my people. There's 7.9 billion people on the planet. And so I one day said to myself, do you know what? This is who I am. I talk with my hands. My hands are all over the place when I'm talking all the time. It makes me more comfortable. I'm a storyteller. I can't express myself without moving my hands around. And that was my journey. That was another part of my journey, sorry. It's saying to myself, you know what? You, Bridget, you're wonderfully made. You're fearfully made. You're expressive. You're a unique blend of, if you don't know me, I'm very mysterious. You won't come underneath that ice blanket that I have. But once you get to know me, I'm all hands and head, and that's beautiful. And I own that, and I love it, and I embrace it. And everywhere I go, I'm able to impact more because of my accepting the soul that God has given me that lives in this body that is Bridget. Okay, so yes, things do cause us not to really know ourselves. Like I said, childhood trauma, you know, it could be parents shouting at you all the time in your childhood, stop doing your mouth like that, stop doing your mouth like that, or, you know, push your hands down, don't talk with your hands, and little things like that that we experience when we're growing up, you know. And I'm sure that if you do come from a background that is either West African or Asian or even European, you experience that. So that's something for you to please think about and work on. We're here to help you. Thirdly is the spirit. Okay, the spirit is, we connect with God on the spirit level. God connects with us in different ways. God does not relate to us all in the same way. It doesn't mean he doesn't love us all the same. He does. But because we all have different assignments, he tends to relate to us differently. Some of us connect through music with him, like myself. I'm a worshipper. If I'm not connecting through worship, I feel starved and depleted. So my environment has to be music all the time. It means that I have learned things such as having an earphone all the time in my ears. If you see me on Facebook, any of my profile pictures, I tend to have an earphone in my ears all the time, because from the moment I wake up to the moment I sleep, I have to be connected that way. My husband is the opposite. You won't catch my husband singing a hymn or a song. You know, he'll be like, pray, pray, pray. I'm like, yeah, I know, I want to pray. I love praying. I know prayer works, but leave me alone. I want to do my worship. I want to sing. I want to just have that presence, because that's how I hear. Like I said, I'm a storyteller, so I hear things through stories, whereas he's very logical. And you have to know that, and once you know that about yourself, don't look at sister A or sister B and say, oh, you know, they're in the choir and they're good, no, or they're in usher, I want to be a prayer warrior. If that's not you, that's not you. You need to understand the spirit God has given you. You can be a gentle soul, but you can be a warrior as well, or you can be a warrior soul and a gentle spirit. You will know yourself. You will know, you will identify it, but many times we just don't want it because we feel like it's not for this particular season. Everyone is doing this on social media, or everyone's doing this in ministry or in business. So I know we've hit half mark, so I'm going to kind of round up with the soul, spirit and body thing. If you've got any questions, please ask now, and then or I'll hand over to Elizabeth.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Bridget. Thank you so much. So yeah, definitely, if you have any questions, do pop them into the comments box, or you can send us a message later. As you know, Bridget said, loving yourself is so important. You know, God created us to love ourselves, and he created us to love others, and he created us to love him. God himself is love. And if you want to have success in your business and in your financial life, you have to start from a place of love. Otherwise, it wouldn't last, and it wouldn't be fulfilling. To have fulfilling, success, fulfilling, a fulfilling life, you need to have love, and if you have, like the Bible talks about having faith and hope and love, and the greatest of all this is love. And hands up anyone who believes that God created everyone and everything to be perfect. If you believe that God created everyone and everything to be perfect, exactly, right? So one thing that I say for myself is something that a mentor taught me. God doesn't create junk, and he created me. He created me, and he didn't create junk. So that's something that I say to myself. So if God created you, and he doesn't create junk, he only creates perfect things, he created you to be perfect, then you're already perfect. Don't try and achieve perfection. Everywhere, the way you are is exactly how you need to be to achieve the things that you're on earth to achieve. And choosing to love yourself is the best way, because when you love yourself, you can love others. And when you love others, you bring more abundance to yourself. Why? Because of the way our brain works. When we think about people, the way we think about people reflects the way we think about ourselves. Whether you like it or not, you may think, I love myself, but I hate that guy. There's no way. There's no way that you can do both at the same time, believe it or not. And if you want to discuss more about that, you can let me know. But when you think negatively about people, it affects your personality, it affects your emotions, and it affects your feelings, and it affects your actions. And once all those things start happening, your personality is changing, your actions are changing, your feelings are changing, and your emotions are changing. You're a completely different person. So the importance of loving yourself is so much. And that's why, your assignment for today as you go away is to get a book in the notebook that you have right now, and write down all the reasons why you're awesome. So write a book of Elizabeth's book of awesome. Write down from everything that you did, that you've done, that makes you so awesome. You sang in the choir. Wow. Write it down. Praise yourself. You finished high school. Write it down. You gave birth to your kid. Write it down. You raised your nephew. Write that down as well. You babysat when you were 12. Write that down. Anything. Some of you may have done really amazing things. Write it down. Praise yourself. I'm not saying you should go out in the world and boast, but in your room, just praise yourself and let everyone know that, and praise God that he made such an awesome person that you can do anything that you put your mind to. You can do all things. There's nothing too small, and you can do abundantly above what you think you can do, because God is in you, and God is love. So that's where we are for today. If you would like to uncover more about how what is stopping you or holding you back from flourishing with your finances, or with your in your business, you can book a call with us and let us know. You can book. I will share my screen now to let you know where you can do that. But I do want you to know that it's important that you always choose to you choose to love yourself first. You choose to, and as you love yourself, especially as mothers, sometimes we feel like we need to put others first. But the funniest thing is that as we put ourselves first and we're loving ourselves, we are actually putting others first. We actually are. We are, because the more love you have, like Bridget said, is the more love you can give. Yeah, because you're sharing more, you're able to actually give more of yourself, and that's the really important thing. So growing a financial and business growing your finances and growing your business to be, to be
Come back.
expansive
Come.
does start with love. It really does. That's where the world started, and that's where our lives started. Our lives started out of love, right? Even, because God loved us, he sent us out into this world, no matter the way we came through. And that's why, it's so important. And that's why, it's something that we are really, really passionate about. So, if you, the link is on the screen. You can take a screenshot of it and keep it, for yourself. And you can have, if you want to speak to us, we could have out a minute. But thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much. And we'll see you tomorrow. And I will send out a replay of this video. Thank you so much for those who missed it. And send us an email if you have any questions. Thank you so much. If there's Veronica, thank you, incredible, thank you, Veronica. And tomorrow we're going to have more. So join us tomorrow. Another key that will unlock, supernatural success in your finances and in your business, and as we get ready for 2020. If you have anything else to say, Bridget, you can. I don't know why okay, never mind. If you have anything else to say, you can, Bridget.
No, tomorrow we're back here at 2:00. I'm going to talk about the poverty mindset. We're going to go down to the roots of what causes us not to think around abundance.
Yes.
I want you to know that at the end of the 3 days, I'm going to be making available affirmations and prayer points and scriptures and lots of references that you can use for yourself. So please make sure that you're here tomorrow, invite a friend, and then on Thursday as well.
So great. Everyone get your book of awesome and start writing it down. We'll see you all tomorrow.
See you all tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.